So, what do you want to talk about? Me, personally, Stormtrance Warlock is the next focus of my attention. This episode of Search for the Worst Subclass, I actually had fun playing Destiny 2 for once. Not for the reasons you may think, because Thorn currently is the most oppressive gun in the game, and I do not wish this current Crucible meta on my worst enemies. Now, getting to my impressions on the StormCaller subclass, I'll say it again, I had fun playing this. Now, that isn't a lot. I don't say that a lot. I have fun playing Destiny. It's my favorite game, but I don't have fun playing Crucible. But this time, I was actually having fun. You give me a subclass based purely on momentum and ability spam and one-shotting people, and you also give me a super that is incapable of one-shotting people. And normally, you'd say to yourself, hey, this isn't a recipe for a good subclass for a happy time. But no, I had a surprising amount of fun. Unlike Nova Warlock, which is the worst subclass in the entire game, I think that Stormtrance Warlock, Arc Warlock is up there. It's actually effective. It's useful, even though I was playing it in the worst way possible. Let me explain. So starting out with the build that I used, the Arc build that I was using a combination of Arc Soul Electrostatic Mind or Lightning Surge Electrostatic Mind. Obviously Lightning Surge when I want to do the funny melee build. I use Ball Lightning the entire time. It's just more fun to me than Chain Lightning. And Storm Grenade because it's the best in the game, combined with Healing Grift and Balanced Glide because I do not know how to effectively move on Warlock yet. For the fragments, use Shock, Ions, Magnitude, Recharge. Fairly self-explanatory. It's really just for maintaining ability energy, getting abilities when you get hurt, that and such. For guns, ignore what is in the rest of my inventory, but the entire time I used No Time to Explain and Thorn. Thorn whenever I was doing the close range build, really, when I was doing the Volt Shot, Dodge, Slide In, Melee. Very good. New Catalyst makes it even better at range. And No Time to Explain, I was using it to combine it with the Arc Souls, because getting the Rewind round buddy and the Arc Soul was just insanely effective. Explosive Personality, I was using on both builds. I really enjoy it, even though my build on it isn't the best. Auto-loading holster by itself was enough for me to use it over a shotgun per se, especially when one shot of Explosive Personality and one shot of Thorn, or one Explosive Personality and two headshots with No Time to Explain is enough to guarantee a kill, especially when predicting. The standard Ophidian aspects, I at some point use Crown of Tempest, but abilities are funky right now with their recharge, and I don't have all the artifact mods yet, and I use Transversive Steps a little bit, but not enough to be notable. So that's what I did. And swords, I don't even think I use the heavy. I just use it for mobility. That's pretty much where we're at for the build. I nearly exclusively played Rift for the entirety of this game session. I think it was at least 36, 37 games of Rift. I didn't check my Crucible report exactly, but I was counting based on the number of exotic engrams I was getting, and it was a lot. The majority of this game session felt good. I really had fun. It was fun to not just sit back with Void or play a bad subclass. Just a side piece. Whatever genius thought it'd be a good idea for Season 23 to remove regular 6v6 game modes, just please let me know who you are. I'm not going to harass you. I just want to call you out specifically by name and ensure that you're never allowed to make a PvP balancing decision ever again, because what genius thought it'd be a good idea to remove regular 6v6s? Now, my bread and butter, the thing that allowed me to have the most fun was simply just spamming abilities. I mean, using Art Conductor, using the Slide Melee. Now, the Slide Melee, as you just saw on those two occasions, was never guaranteed to kill, and I did lose quite a bit of gunfights because of Slide Melee not connecting, or having poor tracking, or just landing in an incorrect place. But more often than not, it just was Storm Grenade, Ball Lightning, Slide Melee, Explosive Personality, just as God intended Arc Warlock to be played, just spamming until the cows come home, and dealing with the consequences of that later. And don't even get me started on what was Stormtrance Emperor Palpatine, because when it worked, oh, baby, did it work. But when it didn't, it was just frustrating popping a super, expecting things to die, and things just wasn't dying. Now, trading out my kills wasn't that big of an issue, but when your super is unable to go into a well and you just get one-shotted by conditional finality, it feels like it needs a little bit more. I don't know if it's because conditional finality is broken, but I was getting shut down by it nearly every single time I popped my super. For the second part of this play session, I played mainly Checkmate Control, a little bit of Rift near the end, but I was really just trying to test the Steadfast Rock version of the Arc build with Arc Souls and the No Time to Explain Rewind Again buddy. And as much fun as I was having with the momentum-based slide dash melee tracking version of Arc, I gotta say, I did like this one a little bit more. I was doing much better. I mean, shucks, who would have thunk that playing back a little bit slower and safer using a pulse rifle was going to be better? Now, admittedly, it could just be a factor of momentum control not allowing as many abilities as you can, but that's basically where I was most of the time with this build. I hate Rift, so this is what I was playing. And besides the Arc Buddy / Rewind Again, the damage was okay. It wasn't as good as I was expecting. I thought it was going to be a whole heck of a lot better than it actually was, but in reality, what I was doing was playing lanes, playing slow, and having a good time. Who would have thunk it? Me. Having a good time with Destiny, especially on Warlock. Holy, wow, never would have thought before today. Or before yesterday, or before the day before yesterday, that I could play Destiny and say to myself, hey, I'm having a good time. So here is where we are at. We have the Behemoth and the Voidwalker in Niche and Garbage. What I'm going to do is we're going to add our first, and surprisingly early, subclass to competitive. Now, even though I myself didn't do the best with Arc Warlock, I see the merits of it on full display and everything I was doing. If I wasn't playing the subclass like an idiot, I could have been killing it, but I wanted to have a certain type of fun that only Arc Warlock allows with the slide melee ability spam stuff. So this is where we're at right now, and I'm going to address some of the bigger controversy in the room from the last two videos I made, and I'm just going to start by pulling up a couple of comments that were on my previous YouTube videos. The Voidwalkers came out of the trenches for this one. Blink, if not one of the best movement abilities in the game, and it's the only one that requires a lot of skill to master. A good Blink player has the ability to counter basically everything. Now, I tried Blink. I didn't like it. I mentioned very specifically that I was getting outgunned on situations that required any sort of vertical momentum. It just wasn't doing it for me. And now that's perfectly okay, and that's fine. It wasn't doing it for me. I'm not saying it doesn't work for you, but when you come to my Yap session and you tell me to use Blink, like I already didn't mention I used it, what's going on, guys? Now, this next one was also a good one. Seeing the video reminds me that people still have very bad opinions because you didn't make it work for you. It has to be bad. Work on some of that skill you claim to have, or stay off Warlock. For starters, I'm not reviewing the subclass. I'm just saying what I think about it. If it was a review, I'd leave it to Cammy Cakes or someone, Sir Demetrius, somebody actually who spends their entire life inside of Crucible to figure that out. If it wasn't abundantly clear, my job is to make what a average, below average, above average, whatever PvP player who's never used these things before or hasn't played these subclasses in 10 or 15 seasons to see what's going on and how they fit into the meta. That's my intentions. I got this one a lot. Skill issue. Yes, I agree. It is a skill issue. I'm getting better, and I promise I'm working on my technical ability to not butcher your favorite subclasses. However, Void Warlock specifically, no amount of skill you claim. It's like the skill ceiling is so low. No matter how high I climb, I'm always going to hit my head below the skill floor on where, for example, Strand Hunter or Solar Titan is. It's just so much worse than other subclasses is why I have to rank it so low. I really don't mean to hurt your feelings, but call it a skill issue if you will. I'm trying my best here. It just sucks. Anyway, that's pretty much it. Thank you for showing up to my Yap session. I really do appreciate all of the comments. I read every single one and try to reply to most of them. So please, if you have any better build ideas for a subclass or anything else, you can share your little bit of expertise to help me along here. I would really, really appreciate that. If not, just tell me skill issue and move on. But apart from that, I'm doing another one of these tomorrow. Guess what it is? But it rhymes with Schman Schmunter.